I have got a little present for everyone at the end, so make sure you stick around, and I'll give you that. I did a bit of this last night, but just in the chat, if everyone can kind of just pop their key takeaways. It'd be good to see what your key takeaways of the week have been so far. Just one, just like your main takeaway from everything we've done so far, everything we've discussed. Just pop it in the chat and let us know what your key takeaway has been. I just want to get I've seen a lot of the feedback that I've had in the various groups and stuff, and everyone seems to be absolutely, loving it, which is great. So, but it's nice to see, just what everybody gets in their own little take. And, there's a lot of information. So how to use each social media platform correctly. Yeah, that's one of the main things, how important social media is. Business media, let's stop calling it business media, not social media. Take action, don't wait for perfection. Yeah, imperfect action is better than no action. Leverage, systemize, and accountability. Marketing is driven all by business media platforms. Approach marketing for the long term. How to attract leads by organic posting on the business media. Yeah, Sean, I saw one of your posts earlier. It was great. The impact of Facebook and business media. Building a presence. Be confident in what you're offering. Don't doubt yourself and talk to people. 100%. Opening conversations is the key. Hook value and powerful is business media. Marketing importance. Well done. Better understanding of how to use business media marketing, how to write posts to achieve maximum results. Cool. All right. Get a V8 deal with business media while I'm still working. Yep. Leverage is key. We're going to talk a bit about that tonight. And we'll just go over a few things. So tonight is I'm going to give you a bit of a glimpse of what you need to do to basically, run, manage, own, whichever way you're looking at it, a portfolio of properties in the next 90 days. And then kind of give you a bit of an overview of really where you need to be if you want to take this seriously and run it as a business, because ultimately this is a great opportunity for you to actually own a business, run a business, have your own destiny in your own hands as such. So I've got a free gift to you all, and the winner of the scholarship is let's get all your faces up here so we can have a little look at these all. It's Sean. Well done, pal. Superb effort. You've been putting the commitment in, putting the value in, and you collected a load of points on Up Viral, and then obviously collected all the points through the homework posts and everything else that was done. So well done, mate. I know we've got a call booked in on Monday, so I'll talk to you more about it on Monday, and then we can get kick-started. And but well done, mate. Really well done. I was really impressed with the effort that went in there. So there we go.
Cool. Thanks very much.
No bother, mate. Well done. Radio. Let's get back to. So, how to become a portfolio property investor in 90 days or less without any experience. Now, this is kind of the tiers that I see people go through or should be going through. And ultimately, you want to be aiming for that top tier. But between earning sort of $0 to $2,500 a month, really, you should be, focusing on one strategy, and your ultimate goal is probably 3 to 5 properties to achieve that $2,500. Now, what you want to be focusing on is just relationships and marketing. You don't really want to, if you need to systemize your marketing and stuff like that, you can, but really at this stage, it should just be you and you alone. And from that, you should be able to then just get your 5 properties on board, get yourself up to $2,500 recurring net income. And then from that, you kind of move into the next tier. Next tier is, I love it when people turn up late. Next tier is kind of, you're earning between $2,500 to $5,000. You're probably in it full time. You've left your job or you're about to go full time, and you sort of got between 5 and 10 properties. You want to focus on still viewings, you know, and still relationships and marketing. So the kind of bottom tier moves is slightly, but, you know, you're focusing on viewings. And this is where you start to sort of engage in virtual assistants, or in-house assistants and systems. I would always be in favor of using consultancy to start off with for VAs, and systems where you can, rather than employees, because obviously they're a lot cheaper. So, you know, I see some people quite often, I'm going to pay £70 a month for a system. It's like, well, you could pay £700 a month for someone else, you know? So, so yeah, so the next tier is kind of steps up, and you're starting to build a team, you're starting to recruit, you're starting to get a flavor for sort of putting your systems together, make sure your business is flowing a bit. Once you pass that 10 property mark, you want to start looking at more systems, more automation, diversifying your business. So starting to look at other strategies. So if you were doing serviced accommodation, you might start looking at HMOs. You more than likely be looking at BRR at this point, because your cash pot will be building up. Likewise, if you started with HMOs, you might start looking at SAs. And again, your cash pot should be building up for BRR. So you start to diversify, and you're really starting to build teams here. So you're starting to recruit, you're starting to work with people, manage people, and really you're getting all operational assistance. So you shouldn't really be doing too much of the operations. You kind of are in full delegation of the operations, and really someone else is doing the tasks for you. But at this stage, you are still involved in the operations, but you're starting to edge towards, you know, really starting to leverage things out so you can ultimately get to the next level, which is where you want to be. You'll have 2 or 3 strategies on the go. You'll be earning between 5 and 15K net per month. And when you tip that 15K, you then go into CEO mode, and you're just working on the business, you know, all the time. You've got multiple revenue streams coming in, and you're, you know, earning, you know, between 15 and 50K and 50K plus as well. So like, I feel like that's my role now, is I just work on the business. I don't get involved in operations really. I get my core KPIs fed back to me, and I'm just constantly working on the business to make it better, coming up with ideas, speaking to the staff, brainstorming, and then we implement the ideas and execute. And then I have full trust in them executing the ideas and putting them into play, and making sure that we then follow them through. So that's the pinnacle, because, well, ultimately, I mean, I'm going to say you can work less if you choose to work less, but you're not doing the nitty gritty. You're just, you know, at the top, and you're leading from the front, and you've built your team, and you get to choose what you want to work on. So you work on, you know, what you decide you want to work on, the tasks you love doing. So the tasks I like doing is like systemizing and building automations out to then put them in, and then everyone runs. I like to, you know, I like the numbers. I like working with the account side of things and making sure that, you know, we're hitting our numbers. And then I love marketing. So I, you know, work with the marketing department quite a lot, and just, you know, throw ideas in, and then we build projects out in Asana, and then, you know, we set who's responsible, and the way they go and do it. And then we just review it in the weekly meetings. So that's kind of the levels, and how you should be, you know, hopefully seeing your transition, over the next, you know, whatever, like 90 days, 60 days, 90 days, 60 days, 12 months, 18 months. And you should be somewhere around here if you've done it properly in the next 18 months. There should be no doubt about that. So to have a business, you know, this is not just about money, you know, because you've got to have all 3 of these connected. And if they're not all working at the same time, then you'll get to a point where you don't want to do this, you know. So when I acquired 21 properties in 7 months, many moons ago, I had the money and I had the impact because I'd got the results and I had the money, but I was at burnout. You know, I put myself in hospital, you know, and I felt very unfulfilled because I was just doing all the operations, and You know, I just didn't like it at all. And, you know, so you can't have, you know, if you want to have the money and the impact, but you haven't got the freedom, you'll end up with burnout. If you've got the freedom and you've got a bit of impact, but you've got no money, you're going to go bankrupt. And if you've got freedom and money, but you're having no impact on what you're doing, then you'll feel very unfulfilled. So you have to tie all these three together at all times to ensure that you sit in this little middle red star here and you are fulfilled. You're not burnt out. You can, you know, choose when you want to work, how much you want to work, and you can have a great impact in whatever you do decide to do because the way you've got it all structured. So, you know, like now I might have, you know, like yesterday I went running and I had some really good ideas. So I brain dumped them, and then I put them into Asana as projects, and I got the team on a Zoom call and we thrashed it out. And now, so I feel like I've had the impact in delivering the idea and setting it up how I see fit. And then they're now going to take action, which allows me the freedom. And then ultimately the action is going to bring in the money. So you're still having that sort of impact, but you decide how much of the tasks you want to do. So always be thinking about that when you're building your business up. Many of the 7-figure mentees that we work with for the 12 months, they come and they have, you know, the money's working for them, they're having the impact, they've got the results, they've got the portfolio growing, but they're just so sucked into the operations. But, you know, I totally sympathize with them because I was there, I've done it, and I put myself in hospital by doing it. So, you know, I this was one of the biggest things that I realized I had to sort out. And, you know, you've got to also be careful, like, not to burn your ship down. And this is where my property journey started, was sat on a couch, and my young family, and I couldn't be bothered to take my son to one of his kids' party things when he was about 1 or something like that, maybe. And I just couldn't be bothered, and maybe a bit older than that. And then I was watching a Facebook video, and this video came on from this, like, it was like a personal development stuff for business people. And it was like how you're basically burning your ship down. So you've got the money, but you never spend any time with your family. You can't be asked with your family. You don't want to see your friends and family. You know, everything's just about the money. And I was at total burnout, and I was having no freedom, and it was very unfulfilling and blah, blah, blah. And that was like my wake up call. So be careful when you are building these businesses and going for that top tier, that you forget about everything else, because it's really important. There's no point doing this, you know, unless you're going to tick all the boxes. Does that make sense? Yeah, 100%, Mark. You know, it is really easy to be sucked into the operations. And it's now, like, I constantly say, and I've had to train myself doing this, but if you do a task if somebody in your team asks you to do a task for them and you do it for them, what do you think they're going to do next time around? They're going to ask you to do the task. Rather than show them how to do the task, get them to do the task whilst you're showing them, and then remind them that they should never be asking you how to do that task again. Because if you constantly do things for people, they'll always come to you as the easiest option. So that's kind of part of, you know, good management. So we have touched base on a very small part. Although we've done it for a week, although we've done it for a week, we have touched base on quite a lot. And really, it's a fraction of what you need to put together, you know, in all honesty. It's a small part of the marketing side of things. And although you've learned a lot, and you know, you can see how it's going to help, and it will help, you know, there's so many different elements to building a successful property business out. So, you know, if we just look up here, we've got, you know, in the sales and marketing, we've got the constant lead flow. So that is going to come from, you know, some of the stuff we've done this week, but that's probably like one of 15, 20 strategies that you should be implementing. And, you know, as well as, you know, everything that goes into, there's so much more to the marketing side, and the marketing side's ever changing as well. So you've got to be constantly educating yourself about it. You've got to be constantly testing stuff and, you know, seeing if it works, not works, tracking it, KPIs, reporting. There's loads of stuff around it all. And then from your lead flow, you get your prospecting, which is pretty much, you know, going out, finding deals, digging into your Facebook groups, ringing your estate agents, all that sort of stuff. And then you need your sales systems. So, you know, how do you stay on track of all the offers you're making? How do you stay on track of all the viewings you're doing? How do you stay on track of everybody that you're speaking to? Who deals with what at what stage? How do you know? So there's a lot that goes into actually just tracking the sales as well. So the sales and marketing department for me is kind of the hub of where everything happens at the front end. But too many people will, you know, you'll go on viewings and you'll get an offer rejected, and you might ring up in a couple of weeks' time, or you might ring up if you, you know, if you see it as you're scrolling back to the right move that it's still on the market or come back on the market. But there's no clear system to be able to know that that never gets missed. Like, we have a clear system so that the minute anybody goes on a viewing, basically until that listing is taken off and the estate agent has confirmed that it's sold and completed, we will continue to nurture that lead. And the same with the landlord. Until he tells us that he's rented that property, we will continue to nurture that lead. So, but we have good systems in place to be able to make sure that nothing slips through the cracks. And we've got great follow-up processes. And that is half the battle to be able to scale and quickly. Because rather than having to keep going find loads of other deals, we're just constantly feeding our pipeline and constantly putting stuff in. So, you know, but when the stuff that goes in, we're not just hitting it once or twice and then being told, oh, your offer's no good. I get told every week, my offers are no good. But every week I'll go back and say, you know, I see that property's still online. And, you know, I see you've reduced that property $5,000. You know, what's happening? And you're just constantly in the faces. So you've got to have good systems around it all, because as you get bigger, you know, we're probably looking at 45 to 50 properties a week on a good week. So there's no way in the world you can track that on anything but, you know, a really good system. You know, we're speaking to a lot of people. So you've got to make sure that you are tracking it. Then you've got your operations. So, you know, how are you going to, well, actually, first you've got the delivery. So once you've acquired the unit, how are you then going to deliver it to the market? So how are you going to get it set up? You know, and I see far too many people, and I've done this as well, you know, at the beginning, setting their own properties up. You know, it's just such a waste of time. But everyone does it. So you got to learn the hard way. I think you can say that to everybody, but everyone's still going to set their own properties up. I was told exactly the same, you know, on the podcast and the books I read before, you know, getting anything, and I still went and set them up myself, thinking I was going to save 50 quid here and 20 quid there. And but as you scale, you know, have you got a good setup process from the minute that we get the keys? What happens next? And then what happens next? And how do we know that that's happened? How do we know that that job's been completed? Who's accountable for it? Who's responsible for reporting? You know, and constantly nurturing it through the project. You know, so then we've got, you know, so that's like the setup, and then the fulfillment of the property. So, you know, getting it listed online, making sure that we're getting guests in or tenants in. What's the processes around that? How does that all pan out? And, you know, you've got to always think it's all right when you've got one property, but what happens if you've got 100 or 200 or 300? You know, there's no way, if you haven't got processes in place, you'll never get to that 200 or 300, because your ship will just burn down. It'll be nigh on impossible to get to that number if you haven't got all your processes right whilst you're small. Then obviously you've got processes around upsell. And in that, I mean, you know, what we talked about last night, where we're asking for testimonials of people that we've worked with. We're getting referrals of people that we've already worked with. And again, there's a process around that. That's not just a case of every now and then dropping a text when you feel like it, and then seeing, you know, we've got a process for how it gets done, when we do it, how it gets stored, and then how it gets distributed to the market back into the sales and marketing team to then generate more stuff. So we have to make sure we've got all these processes wrapped around everything. I hope I'm not scaring anybody off here because there is quite a lot involved. I'll come on to questions in a bit. But yeah, and then in terms of operations, you know, this is probably, especially if you're doing things like serviced accommodation, you know, what's your plan? How does your structure look? How does your team operate, and how do they form? And what are the systems that are going to manage the team and manage the whole operation? You know, and if you haven't got this in place, then you'll blow up. Like, there's no way. You'll have guests check in to frying pans and Budweiser cans all over the place. You know, I've had that. You know, you'll have tenants turn up for viewings and you've missed them or whatever. You know, it's just you cannot run a business, you cannot scale a business like that. So it's better to get all this ironed out at the beginning, because then it gives you the ability to scale rather than trying to figure it out when you get to that point. So planning, teams, systems, and again, you need processes wrapped around every single element of that. So you put all those pieces together, and again, it's constantly moving, it's constantly developing, it's constantly improving. All the time, you know, you're improving, and, you know, but you put that together and you've got the core fundamentals of being able to scale a business en masse. You know, I say quite often, and I'm sure most people have heard, someone could give me 100 SA units tomorrow, or 100 HMOs, or 100 buy-to-lets, and I could plug them into our system. And apart from having to recruit a few more staff members, but again, we've got a good process around recruitment, so I'd be quite confident that we could do that quite quickly. We're always on the lookout for good staff. That never stops. So we've always got adverts out there recruiting. We're always interviewing. We're always speaking to people. So, you know, when you, so we will be able to plug that in, apart from recruiting a few more staff, because I'm confident that we have all the deliverability systems in place and processes in place. We've got all the deliverability, all the operational processes in place, you know, to be able to just literally what I call plug and play. And that's why I like the BRR, rinse and repeat model, because you just literally rinsing the same, it's just the same time and time and time again. You know, keys get picked up, goes into the process. We then start the refinance, we get the money back out. You know, we've got the process all the way through to getting that property hosted or tenanted. And then we get the money back out and we go again. And we just rinse and repeat that model time and time again. The only thing I'm focused on in that whole process is how quick we can do it. So 10 weeks is my record, but I want to get it quicker. But, you know, 10 weeks from picking the keys up from the estate agent to getting the money back in my bank account from the refinance. So I'm all about speed and just getting it through as much as we can. So just pop in the chat what your key takeaways are from all this. Sean set up my first HMO, never again. Yeah. I bet someone told you not to do it though, and you still went and did it. I was the same. I'm going to come back to questions, but systemize, great information, systemize. You can't do it all on your own. Got to shoot. Systems and processes are key. Research best systems that work for your business. Keep track of everything. Spreadsheets are key. I love a spreadsheet. I love a formula. Outsourcing and systemizing is essential. Yeah. Shed loads of systems and processes to put in place and measure KPIs. Importance of implementing systems and processes prior to scaling up so that I'm able to deal with the following work efficiently. Correct. I've actually been systemizing, so it's music to my ears and know I'm to nail this first to be able to grow. Yeah. So when I acquired my first batch of properties, and then obviously I smashed my head open. So I was in hospital, stitches in my head, and then whilst I was lying on the bed thinking like, what am I doing? And my wife's going, you need to calm down. You're burning yourself out. You know, this is no good. You've never seen the kids, blah, blah, blah. And my mom's ringing us, what have you done? You know, you need to calm down. So I realized then that I need to, something was missing. So I was like, I've got to A, get myself out the process, out the operations, and B, I've got to get some help. But if I get help, how can I systemize it? So that was my focus. So I went and read a load of books, listened to a lot of audio books. I don't really read, and you know, all about systems and sort of leadership and all that sort of stuff. And then I pretty much had about a 3-month gap where I just did all that for the current properties I had. And then I felt like when I was in a position to go again, we went again and then acquired, I think it was about another 40 properties in 6 months. And every single one of them was an absolute breeze. It was like, and that was how we almost doubled the amount in a short space of time, because everything was like clockwork. The processes were there. So all I was doing was out and about, just like building relationships, meeting people, viewing, and then I just chuck it into the system. And then the rest of it would be taken care of. So I wasn't listing them online or, you know, getting tenants in or, you know, making sure they were on Airbnb correctly or anything like that. That was just all taken care of. I focused on what I was good at, which was acquiring property. And then that allowed obviously the business to scale even further. So it's also important to figure out what you're good at and then leverage what you're good at and everything you're not good at, because, you know, no matter how great we all think we are, we're not great at everything. So accept that. And whatever you're weak at, and I've said this quite often, I'm quite impatient, so I'm no good at probably customer service. So there's no point me speaking to guests or tenants because I haven't got the patience. So I get someone to do that who's going to be much more effective at doing that and help the business a lot more than if I was to speak to someone like in a heated conversation because they're pissed off about something. So think about like when you're building your teams, you got to think about who you are, you know, who you're wanting to bring in and what roles you want them to do. So, okay, in the chat, if you had my brain on your business for the next 90 days, how much more do you think you could achieve? So if I was sat on your shoulder for 90 days, how much more do you think you could achieve? Let's have a look. Without a doubt, I think I get twice my target. 1-2 properties a week. I'll probably have 10x more units. Loads of properties on the books. 10x. Significantly more. Learn so much so far in 5 days. Good. Hard to quantify, but a lot more. Acquiring minimum 2 properties a month with systems then put in place ready. Take 3 to 4 months. Stupid amounts. Good. All right. Yeah. Cool. All right. Yeah. We'll probably have a few more properties and be completely systemized. Yeah. Processes is the key to all this. Like, I mean, well, not the key, but it is, you know, to scaling. Process is the key to scaling. What we've covered this week is the core fundamentals to getting started and getting some traction, getting some attention. And then you'd scale that side of it, and you process all your marketing out as well. But the processes around what you do in each department dictate the scalability and where you'll get to as a business. So like anybody should be able to get 5 properties in a period of time on a rent-to-rent strategy. You know, if you do enough viewings, speak to enough people, you'll get that. And that's, you know, but there's obviously a lot quicker ways to do it, but anybody could do that from a very basic knowledge and in Worst case scenario, I would say 12 months, that should be achieved. So what makes the difference between that and getting 50 properties in the same time period is processes. And you put good processes around every part of your business, and then nothing gets missed, and you're tracking everything, and you're constantly moving the lever forward. So right, cool. Let's just dive in a bit more. Oh, malfunction. There we go. So what, obviously I want to tell you a bit about what we do here. But this is just a bit of an example that, you know, this shit does work. You know, we get results all the time. So if if you do work with people, like I've always worked with people. I'm a big, I'm not just one of these sort of people that think, oh, well, I'll coach, but I don't believe in having coach. Like I always am looking or working with a mentor, and I always choose somebody that where I want to be. But these are just so, honestly, I could have printed pages and pages and pages of these and put them up, but like just quick results, getting more income into their lives and getting, more properties acquired, and, it works. Okay. So, there's no excuse for why it shouldn't be working for you. And if it's not, then maybe it is time to just ask for more help, because the definition of insanity is trying something over and over again and expecting a different result. So if you've been, at the beginning of the week, there was a lot of people here mentioned that they've been doing this for 6 months, 18 months, 12 months. If you feel like you've been doing this for more than 6 months and you haven't got 5 properties on board, especially if you've been going on the rent to rent strategy, then there is probably something in your processes wrong that you need to fix. And if you can't fix that quickly, you're going to probably, continue to run at the similar sort of pace that you're running at the minute. Or you could, do a deep dive next week and get it fixed and then kick on. So just have a think about, where you are and that definition of insanity. I always come back to that. If I feel like I'm doing stuff, but I'm not hitting the KPIs each week, well, something has to change, and if so, I think I might have lost the chat. That's any problem. Yeah, bollocks. Right. Anyway, let's dive back in then. So I was kind of saying, if you are doing the same thing over and over again and you're not getting the result that you want, then, something needs to give and something needs to change. And it can just be a small change half the time. That then gets you on the right path and kick starts. And I think, sometimes when people invest in training, they want like so much from it. Whereas if they just focus on getting like a couple of real core points out of it to move that business forward to the next level, then they've got that good value from it, and then they should just kick on. So a lot of the training that we do as well is kind of just around mindset, and I see this quite often. I'm sure most of the people on this call right now have probably read this book. Just kind of hands up if you've read the book. Yeah, cool. So everyone kind of understands the difference of, the sort of liability type issue versus purchasing assets. And if disposable income, you should be able to build disposable income up to a point if you really focus on this sort of mindset of building and only investing in assets and making sure that we're making the good results. But also, it's not all about money. It's also about treat yourself as an asset. So, rather than watching Netflix, listen to a book. You know, for years, I did nothing. I didn't watch TV. I still don't watch the news because I think that's just toxic. But just think about stuff that you're doing during the day, and just think about how you can then improve your best asset, which is yourself. So it doesn't always have to be investing in like a stock or a share or a property. You know, how can you invest in yourself to make yourself better every single day? I do 1 hour of education, even now today, and I haven't stopped this for probably 5 years now, definitely 4 years, kicking on 5. Every single day I'll do 1 hour of studying something. So whether it's working on my business or whether it's working on myself. And I think that's hugely important as well, because being a business owner and getting some, decent success and scaling and working with teams, that could be quite, some people might not, if you're self-employed and you've been self-employed for 20 years and you've worked on your own, and then you want to scale this property business, and all of a sudden you've got people to look after, you probably haven't got the skill set to look after them in the right way. So, and even if you have been working with big teams, you might need a better skill set to manage your own teams. So there's a lot that goes into building everything out. And even if you're running service accommodation and you might have a couple of cleaners that you're dealing with and maybe a VA, just because they're not technically on your books, class them as staff and then invest in your staff. So invest in yourself so you can invest in your staff. And, it's really important that that you have this mindset and that you do the homework each day, that's why the homework assignments were set. So that just forces you to try and take action about learning and just deploying stuff, as well as showing commitment to just being able to show up and do something every day that's going to move you forward. Now, time waits for nobody. I'm definitely losing my hair, definitely got gray hairs coming out of my beard. And, we're all in the same boat here. We can, money replenishes itself every 30 days. So whether you're on benefits or whether you're getting paid out your own company or you're on a salary, your money every 30 days gets topped up. Now, so every single 30 days, your money gets topped up. Yet so many people have the fear of losing money. But it gets topped up every 30 days regardless. So every 30 days you get topped up. Now, if you're clever, rich dad, poor dad mentality, your liabilities shouldn't be that big. So you should be able to control that when your top ups are happening every 30 days, you're making money. Whether that's just in a small fashion or a big fashion, or it doesn't matter, but you're making money. But time doesn't top up. We don't get an extra 30 days added on every 30 days. So I constantly am speaking to people like, oh, well, I'm just going to wait until 3 months before I start getting the property. I'm just going to wait until 6 months before I start getting the property. And I don't know, who listened to the podcast this week about mindset? Sean. Yeah, cool. So you've got to really understand the difference between being interested in property and being committed. There is two huge differences, and you need to be committed. And if you're committed, you don't wait for anything. If you're committed, you go now. So, I have found that whenever I've, dove into something and I made a decision on the spot, I've got the maximum results out of it because I was committed from the off. I was like, I'm committed. Whenever I put something off, I know that it's never going to happen. It's a bit like even if we break this right down to a simple daily business task of to-do lists. Most people will write a to-do list, but not assign a date or a time to the to-do list. And most people will just keep pushing the to-do list backwards and backwards and backwards. I'm actually in favor of not having a to-do list. I have a reminder list, but that reminder list is for now, and then I take action straight away. unless it's physically impossible, unless I came up with an idea whilst I was on holiday with the kids and I decided whatever, you know. But if I can get that task done that day, based on the reminder that I've got, then it gets done. And by taking that action and being decisive like that, you're constantly moving forward in the right direction. You're not procrastinating about anything. You're not letting any sort of doubt or fear come into your mind that prevents you. You're always going to talk yourself out of something.
Did you win something?
Yeah, I won his one-to-one mentorship.
Oh, you won that as well? Like 5 minutes late, and all I saw was congratulations, congratulations. I didn't know what we were congratulating.
That's all right. Thank you
I
very much.
I can see Ryan now, but I can't hear him. You guys see him? Oh,
No.
Can you hear me? Hello?
I can't see him. Oh.
it's gone.
Can you hear me?
Again.
Yeah.
You got me. Honestly, fucking Sky broadband is the shittest broadband I've ever had.
It all is, Ryan.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Ryan, what I found is that what I found is that if some people turn off the video, the bandwidth, then it's much less of a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone do that then, eh? Let's stop the video. Problem is I can't see it. Right, cool. Can everyone just pop in the chat if you can hear me? Just type one in. One. Yeah. Cool. All right, cool. Right, let's get cracking then. And can you see the screen? Just type 2 if you can see the screen. Yeah, cool. All right, let's crack on. So, so I was saying basically, time waits for nobody. So you got to get after it. What I want to do is I'm just gonna take you through a bit about, what everyone does and what we do inside of the tribe. So, the promise of the program is to basically take, entrepreneurs like you all and get you, a cash flowing portfolio within the shortest time possible. And it's not that difficult when you know where you got to go fishing and how to do it properly. Abby's proven that, within 3 weeks of being in property, she's got like an abundance of deals getting thrown at her. So, you just got to know how to do it in the right way. And from that, you will get results. So on top of building the portfolio, and I've mentioned this a million times tonight, you've got to put a process around everything. But one of the first things that I like to do is put a process around helping you earn more and work less, because I'm sure most people would want to are after that. And that doesn't mean you become lazy and shit. No, I still feel like I work very, very hard. I just work on the things that I really enjoy. So really it's not work. And the processes that you put around that are key to getting you out of the grind, the hustle. I'm not a massive fan of the hustle. I think, you gotta work hard, but you can work very smart, and ultimately you don't have to go out there hustling every day. Because if you're going to go out there hustling every day, effectively you're just creating yourself another 9 to 5, that's my thoughts on deal sourcing. Unless you get your deal sourcing business to a point where you have deal sourcers working in your business and you're just managing them. But ultimately, deal sourcing is, if you don't go out on viewings every week, you're not going to find deals. If you're not out speaking to investors every week, you're not going to find money. So you've got to be constantly in that sort of hustle and bustle. We've got a clear we've got a clear roadmap to ensure you get there. So each one of these levels, you know, we have foundations, and you know, we don't just, it's not just about strategies. You know, hopefully you're gathering that it's not just about strategies. It's about, you know, everything else that goes into getting you to creating that handful of properties and getting cash flow, get that level one of the pyramid ticked off and moving into level two. So, you know, a lot of people find time seems to be one of the biggest issues that I come across. Not lack of knowledge or confidence, although confidence is up there as well, but time, you know, seems to be a big struggle for most people, because most people start this property journey alongside something else, because that's just the way it happens. You know, most people get into it to just test the water, and if it works, great, and they come out of their jobs. If not, obviously they just give up. But time becomes a factor, and then what happens is time starts to become an excuse why they're not getting their results. But really, they're actually wasting a lot of time that they could be using in better areas to get results. They just start using the time as an excuse for their failures for not getting the results. We create confidence and clarity to help you stay committed, and make sure you don't fall off. And that's key. You know, that is key for me, is making sure that, you know, you guys are always, you know, feeling motivated, feeling pumped, feel like you're within a network and a tribe, and you want to, you know, get great results. And that in itself is the accountability factor that a lot of people are missing, to be able to continue to push forward and push hard. So, you know, it's really important that you do have accountability partners. You know, whether you're working with me or anybody, just make sure you're holding yourself accountable to your results each week, and make sure that your targets that you set each week are specific and they're measurable. Because if they're not, there's no point saying, I'm going to speak to a few landlords this week. Like, how can you measure whether you spoke to a few landlords or not? You know, like, what's a few? You know, so you've got to specifically measure who you're going to be speaking to. We introduced time management hacks. You know, I've touched base on this, but like how to actually plan your days out. This is a screenshot of my calendar, and my week looks very similar to that every single week. So the consistency in what you do every day at various hours of every day also helps produce the results. So that's from 5 a.m. till pretty much 10 p.m. every single day. Apart from a Sunday, you can see the bit more gaps on a Sunday, but you know, that gets results, and that's the, you know, the continuity of doing the process and just thinking of the process. You know, whilst we measure the results, I don't measure the outcomes. I measure the process results that get us to the outcomes, and I think there's a big difference. Because if you measure the process results, then if you measure the outcome results, if you measure the process results, the outcome will happen naturally. Everyone just in the chat, just kind of pop your key takeaways from all this at the minute. It'd be good to get some feedback. Systemization's king. Systems. Everything. Fair enough. Your system's nothing like the training I've had. Process is the key. Top line. Do you know, my training is a mixture of all the good mentorships that I've been on, in all honesty, you know, and over time, and all the books I've read, and all the podcasts I've listened to, and I kind of bundle stuff up, and I do a lot of research on what's good and what's bad. But mainly I take the good parts of everything that I enjoy, and I've kind of bottled that up, And anybody that's worked with me so far, or even worked with me this year, will also understand that the training isn't just like a recorded program that was set like 3 years ago and that's that. It's constantly evolving, because if I'm doing something with my mentor and it's working for my business, it gets passed down the line, just like he does exactly the same. You know, when something works for his business, he passes it down the line. And then, you know, that's how you know, at the end of the day, that's what good training is. My result is, you know, my success is your success, and I want you guys to be successful. So accountability is so important to keep you on track. Get systems in place to create a business, not a hobby. Mindset's key. Yeah, 100%. Building relationships, marketing is the first step. Cool. Let's just get the old screen back up. Oh. So, you know, ultimately, that's what we're aiming for, right? And for me, it is about the money, but really it's not. It's about the time, because we can't buy any more time. But we always get that money replenished every 30 days. And when we get better at it, you get more and more replenished every 30 days. But what we're really wanting is time, and time to be able to do what we want to do when we want to do it. And I think most of you on here now, or you know, most of the people that you're probably networking with in similar sort of circles that are trying to do the same journey, I would say that their biggest goal is to be able to choose what they want to do when they want to do it. And for me, that is the key, and that's what I do it for. You know, obviously I want to leave a legacy for these little monsters that definitely make me go bald. But, you know, they're good fun. And, you know, I want to be able to, people keep saying to me, like, what's the end goal? My end goal is to literally just hand my portfolio over to these two and say, good luck. And as long as daddy gets a little drip out of it until the day I'm in my box, then I'm happy with that, you know, and that's kind of what I want to do. So, and I'm sure everybody else wants to, you know, mix it all up, but there's got to be a fine balance of what we talked about before in terms of the pyramid, or the three avenues. You cannot have all the money but burn yourself out, you know, not be fulfilled and not have the freedom. And, you know, it all interlinks, and you've got to get it right. And I didn't have it right at first. So you've got to make sure that you're constantly working on that as well, because if you're not, then you'll also not be able to push when it's getting difficult, because if it's not all connected, something's always given, and that something always given always prevents you getting to that next step. Just type in the chat if you can, you know, if you start to see how powerful putting all these pieces together will be for your property business. Just type one in the chat. You know what I mean? All I want to do today is just like finish off and make sure that you guys have got something to take away, whether it's mindset, whether it's, you know, the marketing, whether it's systems, whether it's processes, you know, just make sure you've really got an understanding of what you need to do to be able to take it all away. And, you know, if you do want to, you know, potentially work with me, then, you know, obviously I'm more than happy to jump on a call. You know, I'm nothing special. Like, I once knew nothing about property. I was probably a bit stupid and figured it out the hard and long way of not getting help, not jumping on courses in the beginning. You know, kind of, if I could rewind my time, I definitely would have. You know, I was an accidental landlord in 2007. But it probably wasn't until the last 3 or 4 years where I really got some traction. So really from 2007 to 2017, I had one property. And, you know, it was like, I just wasted time. So, you know, imagine if I knew what I knew then in 2007 or even 2008, you know, what could it be now? So I'm a control freak who struggles to let go. I don't know if anyone's noticed that. So, I'm not the be all and end all, but I still managed to build what I would class as, a nice empire for myself and continue to build that as well. So, if anyone does want to work with me, DM me after this. I'm going to put an hour aside to speak to anybody that wants to speak to me, and just flash me a DM and we can either jump on a call or have a quick messenger chat. Anybody that does come on the program tonight will get a hoodie, which is only really for the 7-figure 12-month program. I'll give you a book. But more importantly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you come to the 7-figure 2-day quarterly event. So on our 7-figure program, every quarter we build everything out for the quarter to make sure that it's a success, and make sure that your quarter is set up right and that you have a successful quarter.
Ryan, can you just repeat that, because you cut out there for everyone, I think?
Sure, yeah. Where did we get up to?
The free hoodies.
Everyone will be like, I'm getting a free hoodie. I was saying, if you want to, I'll hang around for an hour afterwards, and if anyone wants to talk, we can talk, and I can give you a bit more insight on what we can do. But basically, anyone that joins tonight, I'll give you a free hoodie and a book. But more importantly, on the 7-figure program, which is my 12-month program, we work on really building businesses, and we do as well as our monthly planning. We have a 2-day quarterly event. So anybody that joins tonight will be invited on to January's quarterly event, which will help you map out the whole of quarter one to make sure that you get the results that you need to get. On the 7-figure program, we do that every quarter. It's about 12 or 18 hours that we get together and we map everything out and make sure that you're very successful. So if anyone does, DM me straight away and we'll get on a call. I'm going to hang about for about an hour. Whilst Sean has won the mentorship, it's all not over. Day 5 homework, which will be probably in the group now. If you don't want to jump on the program, if you don't want my help, just pop in there. What's the number one question holding you back from doing it? Because every single one has expressed the value so far. You've stated how much your businesses would grow having me sat on your shoulder. So just pop your questions on the homework task, and there might be a little surprise for somebody. Before I go into thank you and give you your nice little free gift, there were some questions above. If everyone kind of pings in their questions, I'll quickly answer them. We can do 5-10 minutes worth of questions now, and then I'll give you all your little free treat. Can SA and HMO be successful every town and city? Yes, to an extent. SAs, for me, I think can be successful in most towns and cities, definitely. HMOs depends on maybe not towns, but definitely cities. Minimos are not too bad of a strategy as well for some smaller towns and cities, but again, that comes down to just good due diligence and knowing how to research an area properly for that demand. But I would say so. Obviously, if you lived in, like, I don't know, the Isle of Wight or something, then you probably, well, actually SAs is probably really good in the Isle of Wight. You might not be able to run a HMO there, or sort of North Scotland in the middle of nowhere. But in general, I think most people probably live near a city or a town where stuff will work. What software do you use to track and follow up on offers? Asana. How much is the program to work with you? Not enough, in all honesty, based on the feedback. I think I need to put the prices up. If you would like to discuss that, give us a shout. I like to talk to people first and make sure that it's a good fit for them before we engage. What If agents want to entertain speaking to rent-to-rent strategies and rent-to-rent letters are old school, what's the best way to simply get viewings? Business media, just getting in business media and just prospecting your life off in the right places, opening conversations with people. What systems do you use for marketing, delivery, and day-to-day ops? Marketing, I've got far too many systems to go through, but delivery and day-to-day ops is Asana and Slack. Okay, thanks, Sonny Billingham. Billingham, I think, I think Billingham will work for SA. I'm not sure about HMOs. Obviously got Middlesbrough for HMOs, student HMOs, but Billingham would work for SA. You know, you've got a huge hotel at the Wynyard Roundabout. You know, that's a good sign. I think Asana, Trello, Monday.com are for some systems for daily works. Do you use software for your KPIs, or is it just Excel spreadsheets? How do you team input their KPIs? I used to, everything's now Google Sheets, Google Docs, Google Slides, and it's all just stored in the Google Drive. It's dead easy. Or what about those watching on Facebook? Whether they get the free gift as well? Ooh, maybe. What is your view on the property sources when looking to secure rent to renters? What is your view on property sources when looking to secure rent to renters? I don't really understand that question, but if you were here on day 1 or 2, I think you'll understand my view on rent-to-rent deal sources, and that you should teach yourself to fish and not let someone scam you. Building huge tower blocks and regenerating the whole student Victorian housing estate's huge, not Hinge. Yeah, Middlesbrough is, but then Newcastle's been through the same, where they've like moved all these huge student blocks into town, but those student houses are perfect for SA. So, you know, you can use them for SA. So, I know SA works down that way. I definitely know that. And you know, done right HMOs as well. I guess it depends whether you rent or own it. So, okay. Questions seem to be done. So, my deal analyzer, one of my favorite tools, and you know, this does actually sell quite a lot. So, you know, it's a nice little treat for you. If you are analyzing deals, you'll know that I am a bit of a spreadsheet geek, and I'm going to give you a copy of it. So it's yours. Use it. It's worked wonders for me, and it will work wonders for you. And I'll give you the PDF guide to you. Oh, right there. So this is how I calculate all my deals, and it's all built with formulas, and it tracks everything from your BRR analysis. Just pull this up here so you can see your SA analysis, your HMO analysis, your comparables, and then you can track your pipeline as well if you want on this as well. So great tool. I use it a lot, and I would encourage you guys to use it as well. So I will just cut and paste this in the chat. Make sure you all click on this and download it, because it will be gone once the Zoom chat is finished, and that's how you use it. And thank you very, very much for being here this week. It's been great. I have to say it's been absolutely fantastic. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you guys have, and hopefully you can use the deal analyzer and It's not in the chat, isn't it? Oh, hold on, might send to. For some reason it's gone private. 2 seconds. Send to everyone. There you go. Should be 2 in there. So that's it. Have an awesome weekend, everybody. If anyone wants to talk, ping me a DM. We'll get on the phone. We'll have a chat. We'll see if you want to get involved a bit more, and hopefully we can help you blow your business up over the next 90 days or potentially 12 months, depending on where you're at right now. But I'm off to have a beer after that. So it's been a good old week. But thank you very much. And Sean, I will speak to you on Monday on our call, and we can start making some moves on that front. And don't forget to do your homework. And please keep building the 7-figure property empire group. I think we've got a great network in there now. It's shown this week that everyone's really keen to help people out. So continue to just dive in there. As long as you're posting value, the posts will get approved. If you start pitching like a douchebag, you'll get kicked out. So post value, support others, ask good questions. And I hang in that group all the time. So if you need me, just tag me in a post, and I'm more than happy to answer a question for you. Cool. Right. I'll speak to you all later on, and have an awesome weekend.